Hello guys, it's Vancha Photography here. This is a very requested video from everyone actually, just asking that how do I edit my photo. So today what I'm going to teach you guys is how to retouch your photos. So everything from skin retouching to eyes. Yes, we're going to do that today. So let's just get started. Jump into Photoshop here. Get your image that you want to retouch. You can just literally just drop and drag it into your Photoshop. First things first, always duplicate your first layer. Work non-destructively. After this, you can press J on your keyboard. J on your keyboard goes to this one, sorry, that one. It's the healing brush. You get two types of healing brushes. The first one is a spot healing brush. The spot healing brush only picks up an area that you sample and will take that blemish away. If you want a healing brush that is more accurate, you can select your source by pressing Alt, left clicking, and then rubbing over the area that you want retouched. Further than that, that's how I retouch my photos, like the imperfections on the skin, like very lightly. And then after you clean up the whole face, well, most of the face with this technique, you can also use the clone stamp. Clone stamp is a direct copy of where you select. So again, it's Alt left click and it selects an area there, and then you can paint imperfections away. What I'm going to do now is quickly clean up the face mostly, and then after that I'm going to retouch the face with frequency separation. Okay guys, I'm quickly going to jump in here. Pro tip, if you want to be more accurate, you get blending modes in every retouching cleanup tool that there is. So the blending mode you change at the top here. So if you have a lot of dark marks, you can change your blending mode to lighten. So it's going to pick up, there's a dark spot, and then it's going to lighten it. So let's test it out. So I'm going to change my blending mode to lighten here. This is a very dark spot. It's only going to pick up the dark. See, it's not going to fix the highlighted area. It's not going to fix it. So yeah, there it picked up a bit, but it will only pick up the dark spots and then clean that up. It's very accurate. I like using this. So if you have a lot of light and dark spots, you can just switch to lighten or darken, and yeah, pro tip over. Guys, so after I've cleaned up the face by removing all the blemishes, this is the difference. You can see there's a big difference from just cleaning up the imperfections, the temporary imperfections on a face. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do frequency separation. First thing you do is press Ctrl J on your keyboard, which is copy. So it's just going to copy this layer 1 exactly. Rename your color layer, your layer 1 to color. This is just for identification, and your copied layer just to texture. First things first, you go color, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. The technique here is to blur an image so you lose all the details, so you can get the most accurate blended color that you're going to select later. So the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. For me, the best range I would say is from 8 to 9.2. That is usually the best. It just blends and it's a very generic set value. Just select OK. So now what that did is, this is a blurred image now. What we're going to do now is, this is why the texture layer is here, we're going to separate the texture from the color. Texture layer, go to texture layer, image, apply image. First things first, you change your layer to color. That's why you renamed it, so you don't get confused. Change your blending mode to subtract. Your opacity must be 100%, channel RGB scale to 128. This is very important, so it will always be to 128. Select OK. So that is the texture, that is the color. Change your blending mode to linear light. So what we just did is, these two layers will, they're two different layers, but they will display one photo. So color is color, texture is texture. So if you remove the texture, there's no texture. If you remove the color, there is only texture. So that's how we know we did it correctly. First things first, now we must create a layer to paint on in between, because we want to change the color, manipulate the color underneath the texture, because we don't want to touch texture. Texture is too valuable to throw away. Color, just create a new folder. There's two ways to do it. You can press here at the bottom, it will create a new layer. The technique I like to use is just Control Shift N. It's going to create a new layer, and now you have options. So layer 1, this is going to be our painting layer. Press B on your keyboard for brush, but first, before that, make sure you press I on your keyboard. It's going to select the eyedropper. Your sample size for this must choose between 5 by 5 or 11 by 11. So what this means is, it's going to sample 5 pixels by 5 pixels of color, or 11 by 11. So it's going to select 11 colored pixels, blend those, and average the color, so you get more accurate blended colors. For a black and white image, 11 out of 11 is fine, because there is not a lot of colors. So in eyedropper now, you can press B on your keyboard. It's going to change it to the brush tool. Make sure your flow is very low here. It's around 2 to 3% of everything. I'm just going to choose 3. When you do this technique for the first time, just make sure you paint very slowly. So flow, I would suggest, is around 2%. So what we're going to do now, the technique behind this is to imagine how the face should be shaped, and then try to shape it that way. If you want harder cheekbones, I'm going to select by compressing Alt left click. I just selected that color. Oh yeah, just make sure your hardness as well, so you get to this by pressing left click, hardness to 0. Yeah, okay, just to jump in there. Okay, so select that, the dark color. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to paint in here and create a cheekbone for her, if you want a very dramatic look. So the technique is to blend out the skin, make the skin smooth. You don't want any imperfections. So I'm just gonna show by example what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna fast forward everything and blend out a little bit in the face, and you guys can see what I'm doing. make sure you don't tips. Okay, so tips I would give for retouching is don't retouch too close, because if you would look at this area closely and you would think it looks good until you look at the whole photo and then it looks horrible. So make sure you zoom in and out a lot just to double check and make sure everything is correct. Don't overwork, and guys, if you make a mistake, it's simple, just Control Z. It's the easiest thing. If you make a mistake, undo it. This is not like life, you can undo. So yeah, okay guys, so that's the end of this video. I would just like to say thank you for watching, and I am gonna make a Lightroom editing tutorial. That is actually the more requested video. But yeah, guys, hit me a follow on Instagram and YouTube, and not Facebook. Nobody uses Facebook in 2019. On Twitter, please, Twitter as well. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your day.